p.m. Hollywood Norm Classic from sunny California, from Los Angeles, California. And from the capital of entertainment, we bring you the great games that are happening tonight in round 6. This is our live commentary. I'm expert Coach Q. This stream is sponsored by 1000 GM, the leading nonprofit in creating tournaments and providing free entry for norm seekers. We have the IM and GM sections going tonight, and a few games have already finished. A couple quick draws, so let's just review those real quick and then we'll jump into them. We have a draw here between FIDE Masters Sandeep Sethuraman against Alexei Sorokin. And it looks like Sorokin played the accepted version of the Queen's Gambit. This is all pretty well-known theory, and it looks like FIDE Master Sethuraman came prepared with almost a forced line for a draw, so let's see. Yeah, they're spending absolutely no time. Wow, look. Like, if you look at the clock, 1:34, that means that he hasn't spent a single second thinking. So this game is like, he knew he was going to play this out. And then he starts thinking on move. So he starts thinking on move 20. So he knew this position was fine for white. He must have known Sorokin was going to play the accepted, Queen's Gambit accepted. I'm actually going to just fix up my workstation, get a little closer, and let's see. Continue here. Just making sure I look good. All right. And let's see what happens here. So bishop d7, and then queen's trade, and is white down a piece in this position? No, white's down in exchange in this position. So yeah, I mean, this rook on h1 isn't doing much either. So that's why I thought he was down a piece. The rook is useless in the corner. But apparently white has an advantage in this position. Sethuraman had some time to think here. I mean, what other move is there, though? Why would you play b3? Is b3 the... Oh, rook... So b3 is best here. Not an easy move to find. So if we're taking a look at this game here that drew quickly, I don't exactly see why this is best, but king c1, and white would have an advantage in this position. But Sethuraman played king c1 right away, and then basically took the draw after rook takes e5, and the rook takes b4 move. Sacking the exchange for what? Knight takes b4, knight takes f4. Okay. So, knight takes b4, knight takes f4. And white gives back the exchange here. And, well, yeah, white has an extra pawn, but look at the development. So, rook e1 check, and king d2 would be played. But back here at rook takes e5, rook takes b4. Sethuraman must have offered a draw, and this game ended peacefully. Let's go to the next game. The next game that finished was Andy Woodward versus Victor Matvishin. So Woodward is white and Matvishin is black. Let's take a look. So we have a Catalan with bishop b4 check. Actually, kind of a popular move these days. Usually black will go back to e7. But a5 is viable. The basic claim is that the bishop on d2 is not as strong. That's the main idea of playing the bishop b4 check. So dc, takes. Knight e5, a very common idea. And yeah, I've seen these positions a lot actually, where black will give up the c6 pawn, but have a pretty decent position here. It looks like Mahajan was ready for what Andy would play here. Take. And then knight f3 is a mistake. Not an obvious one at first glance. The computer says taking on c3 is best. And it would end up like this with knight f3 now. And you can see these pawns are very weak, so that it makes sense that would be some of the best moves. Oops. Sorry, I had an itch in my nose. So after queen e4, queen c1, black now makes a small mistake and misses their chance. Looks like these guys were playing fast tonight. Andy hardly used any time. Queen c4, and then now a very similar position that we saw earlier, with the queen still on the board, though, with the pawn on c3. Yeah, knight e5 makes sense. And this game just petered out, it seems. Black was trying to put some pressure on the white's position, but there's not much here. And Andy correctly offers a queen trade. Looks like c5 was possible here, with the slight something. This pawn is relatively powerful, but it looks like with proper defense, white team could save the position there. And after rook a1 and h6, looks like Andy offered a draw on move 28 here, and Mahajan accepted. So a pretty quick, peaceful draw there. They haven't been playing many games like this, so very interesting. It looks like Andy won a game this morning, so they're probably playing this game, quickly, so that they can get to tomorrow. Tomorrow's round 7, so it's getting close to the end of the tournament. But still 3 rounds left for them. But these guys all here in the Grandmasters section of the Hollywood Norm Classic are still fighting it out. So let's see. Here we have Grandmaster Segmed versus International Master Steerman. And we have a position where it looks like Segmed is slightly better. Slightly better here. But okay. I mean, is it that much more when white's pawns are all fractured? So white does have an extra pawn. But all of these pawns are pretty weak, so I would suspect that this is practically tough to hold on to everything. But Grandmasters are Grandmasters for a reason. They're very strong, so having even a slight advantage can be dangerous. Having even a slight advantage. I need to get my dog settled over here. She is like digging in. She's trying to jump on my lap. Okay. Let's keep going here. So, yeah, having the extra pawn, but black has the bishop here. The bishop is actually not super great. It's not really doing too much. So that might be part of the advantage for white. Okay, let's look at the next game. Continuing on, continuing on in the Grandmaster section, we have International Master Robert Schlatenko versus Grandmaster Armen Mikhailian. And Bishop c4 was just played. So the queen is definitely in danger. And there's a lot happening. White looks better. This bishop and this pawn are interesting in the position. They're definitely restricting the movement of black's rooks. And white is down in exchange though. So okay, I wasn't paying attention to the material. White is down in exchange, so they're not better. Likely. But I think black has some weaknesses here. So this pawn on e6 is very weak. It's very hard to even deal with that threat. So maybe white is better. Let's see. Nope. Black is better. White's best move is queen h5 here. But yeah, this is a pretty non-standard position. That's why I'm having trouble even understanding what's going on. But I guess being down in the exchange. Okay, here comes queen h5. So Robert is putting pressure on black's position, though. Robert is putting the pressure on. So, yeah, it does look like this is not easy for black to play, though. So, we'll see what happens here. And in the last game that we haven't seen yet, we have International Master Griffith versus International Master Kavutsky. And Kavutsky is down a pawn, it looks like. White has 4, black has 3. But the pawns on the queen side are blockaded. And the pawns on the king side are blockaded. So black has a static position where they're trying to just block the whole thing up and achieve a draw with the opposite colored bishops. Is there a way for white to break through? The f pawn is in danger right now. So king g5 is the most obvious move. Or does white just take the h5 pawn? Or rook f8. That was the other idea that I had in my head, but that's what Kostya plays. My main man, Kostya, one of the nicest guys in all of chess. And I got a nice interview with International Master Griffith, so you can definitely check that out on the 1000 GM page. And make sure to like, subscribe, and donate to 1000 GM because they are putting this all on for free. There are no fees for the norm seekers, and it costs a lot of money to rent these hotels. So definitely think about giving at least a little bit if you can. And 1000 GM would greatly appreciate your support. And, well, these tournaments will continue. But they can't continue without your support. So please consider donating, and we appreciate all of your support. So Griffith is going to think a little bit, so let's keep going. So that's all the games in the Grandmasters section. So let's switch over to the International Master Norm section. First game we have on is Grandmaster Platoon versus Austin May. So these are the norm seekers for International Master Norms. And G5 was just played. Just getting my bearings for this position. White does have the outside passer, but at the moment he can't do anything with it. these pawns are subject to attack long term because this bishop can come around. And if you ever move the pawn. So I would think that black has a small advantage, but it doesn't look like there's an easy path, because if at any time this queen leaves, white's queen can infiltrate, excuse me, and yeah, it's not possible yet, but wow, look at the time. I didn't even notice. Wow, I need to have my timekeeper of time actually, having me check the time here. 1 minute and 50 seconds left for Grandmaster Platoon. So that's in the danger zone. Feeder Master Austin May has a good shot here at an upset. Let's quickly take a look at the analysis. Black is only slightly better, kind of what I thought. The problem is this queen just can't leave the king side, so it's really hard to do anything with it. Queen f7, queen f5. Two main moves here, basically. So I guess the time doesn't matter that much when it's really hard to make progress for black, even with that bishop pair. Okay, next game. We have International Master Han Cheng Li versus International Master Aaron Grabinski. So we have a really interesting position happening. And I don't quite see what's happening here. I kind of want to tab through. This looks like a King's Indian. There's a Queen's Indian. Okay, I kind of want to just see, because I've seen this structure before. I just was unsure how we got here. Very interesting. Okay, so white sacked an exchange. But do they have a good position? No, I don't think so. This is much worse for white here. Oh wow, and look at the time again. Lee has only 39 seconds. Wow. That is ouch. That is some tough stuff right there. Okay. What's next? We have International Master Alexander Ostrovsky and Candidate Master Rashaan Mahajan. So Rashaan has played some good chess. Last round, I think he got a nice game, a nice win there. So G4, 2-4-6, 2-4-6. So 6-6 here. But white has the bishop, and if you don't know, this bishop is much better the bishop is much better with pawns on opposite sides of the board. So that's what we have here. But black has no weaknesses, so there's really no weaknesses here at all. The only major problem is that these are all in light squares, but it's almost impossible for this bishop to get in. So, I mean, is there a way that white can make progress here? White excuse me on that one. White can always try, but I don't think they're going to get much out of this position. And Ostrovsky has only 49 seconds, so maybe black is going to try here with the time advantage. 31 minutes to 49 seconds. Okay, let's check out the next game. What do we have here? I think it's nice. It helps me to tab through a little bit. Let's just tab through. So we had a Rui Lopez with a really early d4 push, so kind of non-standard. FIDE Master Jan versus Gedjalovic. Castles. So pretty standard play still. just happened here. So black gives the bishop pair to create this pass pawn, it seems. Okay. Now, after looking through this game, it does look like black is a little bit better here. What is stopping pawn b1? What is stopping that? Maybe rook b1, and you can't really play queen c1 check. I mean, you can, but queen f1, and then I guess bishop takes e4 then. So rook b1 is a possibility, but probably not very good. Oh no, there's queen e1. Sorry, so rook b1, queen c1 check, queen e1. Oh, but then you can still just take on e5. So yeah, I think black is just significantly better here. And actually, even though you could play queen c1 check, but there's just queen takes a3. So this does not look good at all for black team. Yeah, not at all. So bishop d3. So white just says give a pawn. Sorry, give the bishop for the pawn. I mean, you could even still just take a3, but I think pushing b1 is easy. Wow, it doesn't even lead to advance. Oh right, it just gives the pawn. I'm silly. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little tired today. B1 does not work because obviously the bishop and the rook guard. Is b6. Rook e8 and rook b6. A little bit opaque. Why can't you just take this pawn? Okay, taking the a pawn is also winning. So that just seems simple to me. But that would allow e6. And it's seemingly a little hard to deal with, actually. So that's why rook e8 makes a little bit of sense, because of e6. So, very interesting, actually. So rook e8 does make a lot of sense if you see e6 as a threat. And the a3 pawn is always hanging here. So I guess there's no real reason to rush it and just take the a3 pawn. So pay attention to white's attack. Play e6. I mean, stop e6 with rook e8. That does make sense. And Jan only has 5 minutes, and Gajolvik has 27 minutes left. So that's a significant time difference. All right, let's keep going with the next game. All right, and the final game that's happening right now in the IM norm section, we have this ending where black has clearly sacrificed an exchange and is trying to build a fortress here. The question is, can white break this fortress? FIDE Master Mighty only has 1 minute and 32 seconds, so that does not look good. FIDE Master Singhania is way ahead on time, 53 minutes. Singhania is in last place, so they really need a win. If Singhania does not win, Singhania probably would be very unhappy, so they're going to go for it here. Let's just double check to see if there's a way to break this fortress. No, it actually looks like there isn't. Oh, Singhania is black. I'm sorry. I am tired today. I am very tired. So g5. Yeah, g5. And there's really no way to break this fortress. There's a lot of moves that are drawing here, so we'll probably see a draw in this game pretty quickly. So this game with Platoon and Austin May is very interesting, so we'll kind of keep this one up as our feature game. Let's go back to the Grandmaster section. And let's pull up. It looks like we had another. No, they only had 3 games going the whole time, so let's go back to the segment Steerman game. So Segment played this rook to g7 just now. And sorry, just repositioning my setup. Okay. So rook g7. What is white threatening here? Queen a7 to try to win this a6 pawn. I don't think that's possible though, otherwise the black queen will infiltrate. Yeah, it doesn't look quite possible here. Okay, we have a few more moves in the Austin May game. Knight d2, bishop d7, knight b3. So now the bishop covers e6, which is one of the main infiltrating squares for white. Yeah, black is making slow progress here. Not easy still. But Grandmaster Platoon only has 1 minute on the clock, so. Okay, let's go back to the Grandmaster norm section. And this wild game is still going on. I mean, this is probably one of our feature games here, too. International Master Robert Schlatenko, very young. I believe Robert is 16 or 17. And he is playing Armin Mikhailian, a strong Grandmaster. So b3, b8 is white sacking a piece here? Oh, you can't take it. The queen on h5 is aiming at e8. So not possible to take that piece. So then the rook is just trapped, right? Yeah, that's what I said earlier. There aren't many squares for the rook here. Very nice use of the bishop pair. I really love it. I really do love it. Very nice use of the bishop pair. Okay, 9 minutes to 7 minutes. So white is winning back in exchange, and they have this very strong pass bond. But black is still better. Wow. I mean, it's really hard to see that here, frankly. Like, the computer is screaming that black is better, but I do not think so. I do not agree Practically speaking, this is very hard to play. Maybe it's because the D pawn is blockaded. The fact that the knight is standing right here on D7 could be a big factor. Okay, so the exchange is taken, and the computer thinks that white is significantly worse now. I mean, what a crazy game chess is. I mean, at the only point I see is 246, like that. The computer is overvaluating the pawns, and maybe not over, but like is giving them more significance here than the actual position. I mean, maybe this bishop on e7 is not super great either. It's not really doing much other than guarding the d6 pawn. Very tricky. Okay, let's take a look at Griffith Kuvuzki. It looks like this game is going to be a draw very soon. All the pawns are trading. Okay, we're going to see a draw in this game very quickly. That means we'll have 2 games left in the Grandmaster norm section. So let's go back to the IM norm section, where Platoon is trying to hang on here. Where is this knight going? Austin May is taking over this position. It's not easy still, but I have a feeling that black is going to build an advantage here. Though I wouldn't have played h5 yet. I feel like that's too early. h5 is too early. Wow, the best move was g4. But not by a significant difference, so h5 is possible here. Only 1 minute left, so let's stick here for a second and watch and see what Grandmaster Platoon does. Knight c6. So yeah, that's what he was playing for, but frankly, I do not understand what the knight is doing over there. Is it just, oops, excuse me. Is it blocking? Okay, I get the point. I get the point now. I thought about it just a few extra seconds, and it's blocking the a pawn. So now the a pawn can be pushed. But the a pawn is awfully far down the board, so it'll take a while before anything will happen over there. Alright, let's go to the next game. Lee Grabinski. Yeah, Grabinski just has a commanding position here. This is not easy to play. The computer calls it only a slight advantage, but I don't know. This does not look easy at all. All right. Interesting. So Rashaan has moved the knight to h6. This doesn't seem like the right plan. Yeah, I don't know why he went this way. I would have just played knight c6 check. And just push the king back. And then you can just repeat here. Even though Ostrovsky has 40 seconds, I don't think that this is going to... I don't think that Rashaan can outplay him in this position. Like, any strange attempt to play this way is probably not going to be smart. But maybe it's not that hard to hold in general, so Rashaan can just try. Okay, let's see. What's next? Okay, Jan resigned. We have a resignation. The first game finished in this section. So let's just review how that was played. Rook e8 was played. Very nice from FIDE Master Gajolvik. And wow, it stops e6. I love it. And it looks like... okay. I kind of see what's going on here. If say like bishop e4, yeah, it's exactly what I thought would happen. Bishop f8. And rook d4 is threatened, king h2, rook d4, bishop b1, and then the pawns are hanging. Okay, so there's no good way to save everything here. Everything's just falling apart for white's position. So Gajolvik gets the win, Jan resigns, so nice result there. And this game was a draw. Nice defense from Sighania. Did Mighty have a chance to win here? Let's see. No. So Mighty did not really ever have a chance, it doesn't look like. Maybe h4 here. But I think black just built a fortress, basically. And a draw was agreed on move number 68. So still 3 games left in the International Master section. Let's go back to the Grandmaster section. And Kostya and Griffith agreed to a draw. Yeah, they traded rooks and there's nothing left. Opposite colored bishops. Bishops will never be swayed. They're on the opposite color. They will never meet. Twain the two shall meet. So, what do we have left then? We have 2 games left. We have I am Steerman trying to survive the attack of Grandmaster Segmed. Is he being successful here? The F-pawn looks dangerous, for sure. There is some danger, Will Robinson. Steerman is in trouble, but Segment only has 1 minute and 59 seconds, so maybe it's fine. And Segmed apparently has given away the advantage, but like I said earlier, it didn't look like white would have much here. They might repeat and go for a draw. Segment is just moving this rook around. Steerman is trying to find something. I mean, he's up on time, so he should be looking for something here. So we'll see what happens there. Let's check out the other game. Robert is trying to stay alive versus Michaelian, but I think the reasons why black is better is coming clear. Queen e4. Sorry, e5. Queen e5, and that queen is taking over the position. Give me a second. I just clicked off by accident. So we can stay on this game because 1 minute left and 30 seconds for Robert and 7 minutes for Michaelian. Maybe we'll just prime some of these games and see when things go crazy. Yeah, Platoon over here in the International Master Norm section only has 49 seconds still, so let's see what happens here. And Michaelian only having 7 minutes to Robert's 1:52. So black's move here, queen d4, rook d4, and then the computer showed me this nice move, bishop d5. You can't take, or else you're going to get mated on the back rank. So queen d4, rook d4, bishop d5. White would have to play like, oh wow, like h3, ouch. And then bishop f3. That does not look good. Yeah, h5 or h4. I mean h3 or h5. Or h4. Squares. Alright. Interesting games happening here, everybody. Very interesting games. So they did trade. Let's see if Grandmaster Michaelian plays rook d5. Sorry, bishop d5. We had a move on the Platoon game. Queen e4. Anything from these games? They just moved over here. So bishop d5 was played. Very nice. And now h4 is forced. So that's why this is so bleak for white, because all the pawns are so weak. Bishop takes f3. Pawn takes f3. And what's after that? Can black play rook c2? Rook c2, rook either a4 or rook b4. Oh, we can't go. Yeah, this bishop will be gone. I see. That's really complicated. Super complicated. So it looks like in this Lee Grabinski game, black did break through, but sacked the center pawn to do it. Let's check to be a draw. Mahajan's just playing it out because Ostrovsky's down on time. Bishop f1 and then one check. Yeah, that doesn't. Rook d1 goes into this endgame, and this endgame has got to be lost. Now you're just down a pawn in the endgame, and the d6 pawn is not very strong. Yeah, bishop f1 with. Oh, nice move. Rook takes f1, king takes f1, and then bishop b5. Yeah, okay. That is not good for white. Yeah, I think Robert's in big trouble there. Oh wow, big developments in this segment Steerman game. Rook takes b7. Is there a draw here? Yeah. But it doesn't work. Wow. Okay, wait. What is So king takes b7. Okay, I was also thinking this move, but how does this work? Oh, because king. Oh, right, king e2, and then you take, and wow, segment blundered. Grandmaster segment blunders. Blunder alert. Man. Oops, I just clicked off. I apologize. Wrong section. I apologize. What? I lost it. My apologies. Hold on, I'll get it back. That's Michaelian. What? So now Steerman is winning. Steerman is up a piece. Rook takes e2 and then just king takes b7. Platoon blundered. I mean, segment blundered. I'm sorry. Platoon's still playing. This is in the Grandmaster section. Platoon's in the IM norm section. So what happened here? He just miscalculated completely. Because I don't think it's forced to take. You can just go rook d7 probably. Computer says rook g4 is winning, but how? Doesn't really. I don't really see the point of that. So rook g4 was better here. Hold on. Rook g4, king a7, rook f4, queen a1. So this would be winning. But why does black have to move? So that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, let's go back to the live position. So Grandmaster segment, maybe he thought this endgame was holdable? How is it holdable? I mean, it looks pretty terrible. So black's move, and there's like a few moves that are good here. King c7, king c6, queen b2 check. Yeah. I think that's lights out for Grandmaster Segment. I think International Master Steerman will win this one. Especially since Segment only has a minute on the clock. Okay. This game must have just been a draw. But maybe not. Because Rashaan has been thinking for a long time. Alright, Lee is trying to hold on against Grabinski, but I don't think this is the way. Pawn d6 seems like a rushing move. Well, what actually it's drawing now. What? Where did Grabinski go wrong? Rook a2. That must be the move that doesn't make sense. So I was thinking rook b4, but that's also losing the a pawn, so silly. So rook b2 was the best move, but that's hard to find because you're basically leaving all of this open. Maybe this is the right way to play by Lee, to go for the passed pawn and just put practical pressure on their opponent. I like it. Let's stick on that game because that game's interesting. We'll see if Lee can survive here. And in the Steerman game, it looks like Steerman is still making slow progress, and Robert is struggling to survive here. Rook b4. This position is still sufficiently complex that, well, Robert might have a chance at holding on. The computer is saying he's completely losing, but it's very, very interesting. Like, if Black rushes pushing this pawn, I don't think it works because you push and then there is this bishop d3 move. And you can play the check, but king f2, and you're not promoting the pawn yet. But maybe there's bishop a1 there, or a2 there. Maybe that does work actually. So b2, and if bishop d3, oh, just rook d2. Yeah, okay, and that's lights out because you're going check, and then rook b3 is not possible because you lose the rook. So welcome if you just joined us. I am reviewing the Game 6 games. There are still a few games left in each section from the Hollywood 1000 GM Norm Classic. This is the Grandmasters section that we're looking at with 2 games going. And this is not live right here in that board. Let's go back to the Steerman versus Grandmaster segments. Grandmaster segment blundered and dropped a piece earlier. So let's check it out. Let's check out the blunder here. And I am Steerman jumped on it right away. So rook takes b2, thinking if king takes b2, sorry, b7. So rook takes b7, thinking if king takes b7, queen d7 check, fork, winning back the rook. But Steerman took on e2, a nice in-between move. And after king takes e2, king takes b7, there's no more fork. And Black has an extra piece. So it looks like we're going to have an upset here. Steerman is making slow progress, and Grandmaster segment only has 59 seconds left on the clock, with 7 minutes on Steerman's clock. So let's go back to the International Master section with this very interesting game between Lee and Grabinski. And what was the last move? Rook a1. Okay, so they played. So Black brings the king in, very logical. Knight c4, rook a1. So White is down in exchange here, but has this nice passed pawn as compensation. And, well, I don't think this king can get any closer because of these moves. So what does Black play here? Or it's White's move now. Hold on. White's move. Rook c7 check. Okay, let's ask the Silicon Monster. So rook c7 check is one of the moves. And e4. e4 is pretty logical. The computer is saying this is dead equal, but I would say this is dynamically equal. Meaning both sides have all 3 results possible. Win, loss, draw. It's going to be intense. Okay. King c2 was played. Lee has all the way down to 1 minute and 12 seconds. And Grabinski is down to 10. So not too bad. I think there's 2 more games in this section. Austin May is slightly better against Grandmaster Platoon, but I think a pair of minor pieces have traded. So, and Austin May won a pawn here on c6, but it's not enough. But it does look like Grandmaster Platoon is making small inaccuracies, so there's chances here. Okay, moving quickly. Austin May is putting pressure on Grandmaster Platoon. You saw how fast they just moved there. I didn't even see what moved. Queen a4, bishop takes g5, queen takes a2 check. So pretty exciting position here. This one will wake us up. This position will wake everyone up. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and donate to 1000 GM, the organization putting on this event that is doing it for norm seekers for free and paying all the Grandmasters and other norm providers like International Masters. So, and there's 2 sections going. 10 players are duking it out for titles and norms and rating points. So, pretty awesome. A pretty great event. Definitely consider your charitable donation going to 501c3. The 1000 GM 501c3. It is tax deductible, fully tax deductible. So, if you have some expended, some discretionary income that you need to get a tax write-off, consider a donation to 1000 GM. They are doing great work and will continue to do work as long as there's funding. So there's got to be funding for these events. So we need you to help. And in the meantime, Austin May is trying to help Grandmaster Platoon, help himself, that is, to some of Grandmaster Platoon's rating points. And it looks like Grandmaster Platoon is in trouble, but the question is, how do you win this? What? Grandmaster Platoon walked up to g4? Huh? This is confusing. That makes no sense. It's just lights out. Queen g3. Queen g3 is lights out. I cannot believe it. Queen g3 check. King h5. Queen takes g5. Bishop g5. Queen g5. Bishop g5. King g5. And then I think d5. Might be winning. Let's see. Asking the Silicon Monster. Yes, d5 is winning in that position. Oh, he didn't go for it. Oh, that would have been so beautiful if he played this line. This line is completely winning. Check this out. Very nice. Very nice line. d5. Game over. You can play cd, but you lose. c4. And it looks like the king can catch, but you play king f6. And the king is walking up and taking both of these pawns. Amazing, amazing. And if you walk over, play c3, the king walks over, and then king e5. And this is lights out. Oh, man. I wish I mean, I understand in the time pressure that you wouldn't go for this, but wow, that was a huge chance right there. That just like end the game immediately. Oh, wow. Austin May moved too fast. He's trying to put pressure on Grandmaster Platoon, but you should, when you have that really big opportunity right there, you should go for it. But it does look like Platoon is worse here still. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to play the fancy move. I mean, though, I think this is just harder to play because the queens are still on the board. I mean, he had 7-8 minutes. He should be looking at that variation. I'm very, very surprised that Austin May did not take the time there. I mean, the Stockfish is saying this is still completely crushing for black, but I guess this is why it's crushing, because this bishop is under pressure and you basically have to trade everything here. Yeah, Austin May must have seen this, so many ways to win sometimes. You don't always have to play the most exciting ones. And I guess it would take a lot of calculation to... Okay, so Platoon is sacrificing the g5 bishop. And just for example, you can't really save the bishop because this ends up in a lost ending. This ending is lost. White's king is too far. And, not to mention, there's 3 pawns versus 2 over here. So instead, it looks like okay, they're going into almost the exact same ending, so the exact same ending, and it's still lost. C4, D5, or King F7. Any move you choose. Any move you want. Any move you want. And Austin May is going to take down a Grandmaster. Very nice. Very beautiful. What an upset. Huge upset here in round 6 of the Hollywood International Master Norm Classic. In sunny Los Angeles, brought to you by 1000 GM, the nonprofit that is offering these tournaments to norm seekers for free. So if you want to keep this going, spread the word and definitely donate, like, subscribe, comment, all the things on YouTube. Yeah, and the hard part here is that the c5 pawn never lets white blockade the pawns. Without this extra c-pawn, white can come and just occupy the d5 square. But there's no way there. I mean, I don't even know if there's a way to mess this up. I don't think so. Okay, so let's check out the other games. We're missing some action over here in the Grandmaster Classic. Yeah. White's king is busted here. And the only thing black needs to avoid is any sort of perpetual. So as long as they can avoid perpetual here, which I think black can, we'll see another upset. We'll see a second upset of the round. How interesting. 2 upsets in round 6. The anti-penultimate round 6. Round 7 is the anti-penultimate round. Round 8 is the penultimate round. But this is the anti-penultimate round. I don't know if that's a thing. But, yeah. Okay, so a few more moves in the... Yeah, this game's about to be over. So let's switch to... I'll tell you guys when this one's fully over, but this pawn ending is not at all salvageable. So let's check out the Lee Grabinski position. So black just brought the king in, and white won back the exchange. So this looks drawish now. Yeah, I mean, I have to say it was very, very challenging position to win. International Master Grabinski had an advantage, but not easy to play. So we're gonna see a draw here probably, unless someone really messes it up. 3 minutes to 5 minutes, though. I expect them to take a draw soon. And wow, the position really changed here. We have the Rashaan blunder. Oh no. Looks like Rashaan blundered here. Let's go back and see. So I was worried about him messing around with the knight on h6. So let's see where the mistake was. So trading. So here, f5 is a mistake. And that's because it allows white to basically dominate black's king and knight. What was better here? Probably just... my dog is like laying on me. Dogs are hilarious. He just like growled at me and rolled over on top of me. Okay. Trying to analyze here. Animals. Okay, so G5 was equal. G5 was the only move to draw here. It makes sense because you're creating a passed pawn for black also. So that does make sense. G5 makes the most sense. F5, yeah, you don't get a passed pawn out of it. Yeah, that is the main problem. G5, the e-pawn is passed pawn now. So like bishop F3, take. Oh, king C7. And then you still come back. You can come back and take over the dark squares. Not an easy position to draw. Very tough. So let's see. Did Rashaan survive here, or is he getting mated? Yeah, it looks like he's getting mated. Any move he makes, bishop d5, and then taking the knight. So this one looks like it's over as well. Platoon has not resigned yet. Grabinski, no draw yet. So those two games look like they're over. All three of those games look like they're over. We haven't checked back on Robert Schlatenko's game here. Oh, and he ended up resigning. So let's check out that ending. So we saw this position where the pawn was pushed. I didn't know Lichess made comments. That's silly. The pawn was pushed to b2. And, well, Lichess is calling this move an inaccuracy, but it's not. You just win. So yeah, black chose the really simple path and just won a piece here. So a complex trade here where black has to give back the rook. But it doesn't matter because the two pieces are just much better. And with 4 pawns versus 3, that's an easy win, and Robert resigns. So Grandmaster Michaelian is looking like he's probably going to be in first here. Let's check out the standings real quick. Let's check out the standings real quick. I want to see where that puts Grandmaster. Yes. So Grandmaster Michaelian is dominating this tournament. 4.5 out of 6. So absolutely crushing everybody else. Matvician is 4 out of 6. Very strong. So Matvician is in line for a GM norm. That is going to be interesting. And Andy Woodward is on 3.5 out of 6. So it's pretty good. And then everybody else is either even or worse. And Steerman is going to, I think he's going to go +1 now, I believe. We'll look after this game finishes. So 1 game left in the Grandmaster section, and 2 games left in the... Yeah, so because Rashaan got checkmated here. Oh, Rashaan just resigned because he sees the checkmate coming. So in case you didn't see that, one more time, bishop d5, and then bishop takes b7. Ow. Ow, my dog just kicked me. You little rascal. So let's say they take bishop d5, and you can push the pawn again, but it's mate. Nice little pretty little mate without having to get a promotion. So that game is over. 2 games left. Austin May is about to beat Grandmaster Platoon. Isn't it? Isn't it? It's just c2, just easy win. Yeah, and then c5. So this is about to be over. Over, completely over. c5, king c1, and then what is the final move? King c1. You can't play d7 because king takes c2, but I think you can go... Yeah, you could just bring the king in here. King takes g4. h6, king. Or king f4. That's also exactly the same plan. You bring the king in, and then you help the pawn promote. And white will promote their pawn, but yeah, it's... I think black is faster, plus the other c-pawn is further down the board, so... This is still pretty fun. This is pretty interesting. 5 minutes to 8 minutes left. But Austin May has the win here. So h7, check, king takes c2, king... No, so king c2 first, right? King e2 first, I'm sorry. A little sleepy. King e2. Yeah, and then if you promote... d2 check. King takes c2. Oh, very nice. And then if you promote on d1 check, you play queen a1. Sorry, after king takes c5. So real quick, I'll do that slower. d2 check, king takes c2, d1 check, king takes c5, and then a1 skewers the queen. Very nice. Very, very nice. Not clear that that's actually what was going to happen. Platoon defended as well as he could here. Pretty nice, though. Let's see that. I want to see that on the board. Real quick, while we're waiting for that to pop up, Steerman is trying to beat Grandmaster Segman to get this upset also. So if both these games win, those will be big upsets in the tournament. So what is the right move here? White is trying to check this king, but the king could... Oh, no. King has to go back to... So queen b7 check is an interesting idea. It probably doesn't actually work, but because of king e8, queen c8 check, king e7, queen c7 check, and then the king can just walk out, I think. Maybe not. Oh, walk over to behind the pawns. But this pawn mass is very interesting. So, oh, it was black's move there. I'm sorry. So I guess that was kind of the threat to keep checking this king. What about g5 now? Steerman is losing control here. The advantage has slipped significantly. So we might have Grandmaster Segmed have a nice defensive result here. And Grandmaster Platoon is still thinking. I expect a resignation because Austin May is playing quickly. Did these games finish? This is still... What did Lee do? Is this dangerous at all now? I don't think so, but... Black has the pass to h-pawn now. It's technically still equal, but... Mistakes are to be made in every game. So let's go back to the Grandmaster section, though. Oh, a move by Lee, but let's go back here. G5 was played. Okay, yeah, that's what I expected. G5 is strong here. Very strong. I mean, Steerman can take the draw at any time. So if this position gets too hairy, he can just bail out. But that would be a big disappointment, because if we go back here, all the way back here, Steerman is just dominating this position. Oh, it looks like Bishop D5 was necessary. Wow. It's a pretty tough move to find, though. You have to get the bishop out from over there, over on the king side, to attack the king here. Now, the reason why this is so hard is it's like, what do you do with your king? King D7, Queen G7 check, king. And then the bishop can go back. No, King C8, Queen F8, King C7. Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to tell what happens with the king over there. All right, so... Oh, G5 was a mistake. Wow. Huge mistake. Ha! Wow, these games are just really going crazy. So thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us now, I am Coach Q, chess expert, and I'm commentating on the Hollywood Grandmaster Classic and the Hollywood International Master Classic, coming straight from sunny Los Angeles, California. And this is the home stretch here. So tomorrow and the computer is a cold. This game looks still pretty drawish, but okay, so Grandmaster Platoon resigned right here. Being cooperative. And white is forced to take. Check. And we lose the queen. So that's not great. So Steerman is trying to figure out if there's any win here. And wow, he has pushed the white king all the way over to the king side. And there is a mate coming. Wow. What a nice game. And I Am Steerman is going to upset Grandmaster Segmed. And that's all she wrote for that. And that's going to be the last game of the night for the Grandmaster section. So let's go back and take a look at the standings. So again, Michaelian is in first. And with that win, Steerman is getting off the bottom and back into the middle of the pack. So Steerman is now on 50%. And poor Grandmaster Segmed is on -2, -3. So that's a nice upset. Okay, and there is still one game going left in the International Master section with I Am Grabinski trying to beat Lee. This will probably peter out into a draw very shortly here. Wow, my dog, Birdie, he just fell all over me. Silly monsters. Oh my gosh. So funny. At the end of this round, the dogs crowd. The dogs crowd in. All right, let's keep it here on this last game until the draw is agreed. And it does look like it will be agreed soon, because white is winning the h4 pawn, and black is winning the e3 pawn, but then the king can walk in. And if black is not careful, there are mating ideas there, but it doesn't look like that'll happen. Okay, that's exactly what happened. White took the h4 pawn and black took the e3 pawn. And we are going to have a peaceful resolution very soon here. Now, just have to be a little careful here. King g5, rook g3, king f6 or h6? King f6 probably. Or king h6 is interesting. Okay, black plays king f8. I don't know if that really does much, but it does allow king g5 and king f6 soon. Grabinski is up a pawn, though, so he's going to try to win here. Yeah, king g5. This is pretty simple. Very simple here. Nothing to worry about at all for the white team, and we're just going to see a peaceful resolution here. And they're going to end the game shortly. So, is rook g7 like the end of the game here? Rook g7, rook g4, rook takes g6, rook takes c4, rook g5, and there's no way to save the pawn. Simple draw. It's interesting they're still playing. Interesting to say the least. A lot of exciting games this round, though. 3 wins. 3 games that were decisive in that section, and 2 games that were decisive in the Grandmaster section. So, very interesting game. And here, the draw is being achieved in the proper manner. Rook g7, and taking g6, taking c4, and taking, f4, and taking f5. Time for a nap. A lot of awesome games today, though. So, this one is now drawn. Take the pawn and draw. Time for Grabinski to draw the game. There it is. All the way to the end. The Bear Kings are left. That's a fun end to the round. So look at that. Automatic draw. And let's take a look at the standings for the International Masters section. So Hollywood, Chess, I Am Norm, Classic. Wow, look at this stacked top. Look at what we have going here. I am Grabinski with 4.5 out of 6. I am Ostrovsky with 4.5 out of 6. I believe that is +3. Nice score so far. Of course, they're IMs, so they should be in the lead. Candidate Master Rashaan Mahajan, one of the great organizers for 1000 GM, is in third place. FIDE Master Milind Mighty with 3, Geljevic with 3, and May also with 3. So three FIDE Masters with 3, even score. On -1, we have FM Yan, Lee, and Grandmaster Platoon. And the poor FM Singhania with a couple of draws and some losses is in last. So, but at least Singhania was able to hold on to their game earlier today. So, really nice round. Thank you to 1000 GM for this round 6. We appreciate everything they do. And I hope that if you're watching, that you'll be considering giving a nice donation, a fully tax deductible donation to the 1000 GM, the 501c3, so that we can continue these events where all of the norm seekers are getting in for free. So this is Coach Q. I'll be signing off for this round 6. I hope to see you tomorrow, and everyone have a good night.